All right, our top focus at this hour, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Washington. In a few hours from now, he will be meeting US President Donald Trump at the White House. Now, ahead of the meeting, the Indian Prime Minister is holding crucial bilaterals. He met Tesla CEO Elon Musk at the Blair House. Prime Minister Modi is later posted on X that him and Musk talked about India's efforts towards reform and furthering minimum government, maximum governance. It was followed by a meeting with Indian-origin entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy. A short while ago, Prime Minister Modi also met with NSA Michael Waltz. The discussions touched upon ways to further deepen the India-US Comprehensive Global Strategic Partnership. Ahead of the meeting, senior Trump admin officials say that ties between India and United States are the most crucial bilateral relationship of the 21st century, and the two nations are moving to sign a new defense framework and defense procurement by India from the United States, and this sets the stage for a crucial diplomatic encounter. Now, the Modi-Trump bonhomie has been evident through their previous encounters that were marked by spectacular joint appearances at massive rallies. The world saw the two leaders miss cheering crowds at the Howdy Modi event in Houston in 2019 and a year later at the Namaste Trump event in India's Ahmedabad. Both leaders call each other close friends. Prime Minister Modi will also be the fourth world leader after Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, and Jordan's King Abdullah II to meet Trump in the United States during his second presidential term. This visit underscores the importance the Trump presidency accords to India and vice versa. Now, India has moved strategically to smooth out any friction points. New Delhi has demonstrated goodwill by lowering certain tariffs. These preemptive measures aim to forestall potential demands from Trump, who's not hesitated in weaponizing tariffs against allies and adversaries alike. The visit comes against the backdrop of deportation of illegal Indian immigrants. Earlier today, a second flight with Indians deported from the United States to land in Amritsar. Earlier in February as well, when the first flight from the US landed, the manner in which they were handcuffed and bundled on a military jet, that wasn't received well in India. The Modi government had to face some tough questions on the issue as well. At the heels of the current visit, the United States will be deporting a second batch, as I mentioned, of illegal immigrants back to India. During the Modi-Trump meeting, the discussions will also center on defense and security cooperation. A potential meeting with Tesla's chief, of course, which has taken place now, adds another dimension. This is India is eyeing expansion in the electric vehicle sector. The billionaire has toyed with the idea of launching a more affordable model of the all-electric Tesla car in India. Prime Minister Modi's schedule includes meetings with Trump cabinet members, senior business leaders, as I mentioned earlier. He already has held a meeting with the newly appointed Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. But behind the diplomatic warmth, the stakes are high. Trump is expected to reciprocate with a visit to India for the next Quad meeting. Both leaders appeared poised to maintain their strategic partnership despite potential challenges.
It was a pleasure and an honor to welcome Prime Minister Modi here. Hope he has a wonderful visit, and it was a great meeting.
All right, for more on this, joining us live on the broadcast is our correspondent Susan Tehrani, who's joining us from New York. Also on the show, we have with us Mr. Raymond Vickery, Senior Associate at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, joining us from Washington, D.C. Now, Susan, let me come to you first. Of course, we've been discussing all the updates and developments. We know that in the lead up to the meeting between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi, Trump has also imposed the reciprocal tariffs, which is something that is likely to come up during discussions as well. What do you think will be the sticking points here, Susan?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble with the audio. What was your question?
Can you hear me now, Susan?
I can hear you. Yes.
Right. I was talking to you about the trade war and tariffs. We know that just ahead of the meeting, Donald Trump has signed the reciprocal tariffs, and this is something we've discussed that will come up during discussions between the two leaders as well. What do you think will be the sticking points here, Susan?
So while this will be a continuity of policies between the two countries, it's also somewhat of a recalibration because of the tariffs that you mentioned. It's no secret that Donald Trump had previously called India the tariff king. In response, New Delhi showed a willingness to buy more American oil and lower its own tariffs on U.S. goods, including Harley-Davidson's, from 50% to 40% during the Biden administration. Also on a number of food groups as well: walnuts, chickpeas, lentils, apples, and almonds. So there is a goodwill gesture on the part of Prime Minister Modi going into this regarding tariffs. Now, the United States also, under Trump's presidency, wants to see something worked out with India, considering the fact that not only these bilateral relationships are very important for the United States, but India being part of the Quad and a very important ally in the Indo-Pacific and one of the U.S.'s largest trading partners as well. So there will be sticking points perhaps when it comes to tariff and trade, but ultimately it doesn't seem like it would be something that couldn't be ironed out.
Right. All right, Susan. Mr. Vickery, coming to you now. Thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast once again. Mr. Vickery, of course, trade and tariffs, that's going to be one major point of discussion. We also know that the two sides are aiming to sign a defense framework, and India is aiming to increase its procurement of American-made security equipment. What are you expecting from the discussions?
Well, thanks very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on WION. I subscribe fully to World is One theme of WION, so it's great. And I think it's of the utmost importance that these two great democracies continue to work together, one, to preserve democracy within their respective countries, but two, to build peace and prosperity throughout the world. I think tariffs is going to be a major point of the discussions. As you may know, this afternoon, President Trump has signed a directive on reciprocal tariffs. Nobody knows exactly what this means, because is it reciprocity just across the board with one rate for everything, or is it reciprocity with individual items? Also, there are a lot of bureaucratic questions as how you would administer this, with different countries having subscribed to different tariffs. The whole premise of most favored nation, the basis of the WTO, goes out the window. So there's a lot to be determined just as to what this means. What it means, though, in regard to the U.S.-India relationship is that Trump continues his policy of announcing something as a negotiating position. It seems to me that he's shown this with Canada and Mexico, where he announces something radical and then backs off it. In regard to the U.S.-India relationship, it's much too important to be derailed by a fight over tariffs at this point. India has already taken steps to be able to give Trump what he would like, and that is some things that he can hold up as victories, and whether it be Harley-Davidson motorcycles or walnuts or cashews, that's already been done. I rather imagine that there's going to be some continuation of what happened in Trump 1.0, and that is moving toward some sort of overall framework agreement. I think that that'll probably be announced this afternoon, but it won't really be an agreement at this point. It'll be an agreement to negotiate further. So that is a way around what has happened here, and it just seems to me Prime Minister Modi is an excellent politician. He knows how to handle President Trump, and I think that that's going to be the outcome.
Right. Well, Mr. Vickery, let me first thank you for your kind words. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show with us as well. I also wanted to ask you about, of course, the illegal immigration issue that was the centerpiece of Donald Trump's whole election campaign as well. And he has cracked down on this issue in his first 4 weeks or so in the Oval Office. We know that 5.4 million Indian Americans, Indian origin people, make up the Indian diaspora in the United States. It's the third largest Asian ethnic group in the United States. That being said, a second batch of illegal Indian immigrants is being sent back to India. How do you think the two sides will be able to navigate this issue?
Well, you're very wise to bring up the whole immigration issue, because this has been the stock and trade of President Trump's election campaign and what he's done in the first few weeks. It's really an anti-foreigner approach which appeals to much of his base. In regard to India, the Indian American community and Indians in the United States, for various reasons, many of them very, very legitimate, have a lot at stake. What has happened so far is that India has wisely taken the initiative, saying, well, we're not against debarring illegal immigrants, but we want to have legal immigration, meaning not only green card, but H-1B visas and temporary visas preserved. For Trump, it's a difficult political issue because his MAGA base is split. You have, as you have indicated, the Silicon Valley supporters who are very much in favor of H-1B visas and being able to work with the tremendous supply of talent which is in India. On the other hand, you got the Steve Bannon group. They just don't like foreigners, period, and they want to be able to keep out anybody that they consider to be not like them. I rather imagine here again there is going to be some workaround, a solution, because the relationship is much too important to be derailed by this. It certainly doesn't help when the Trump administration puts people in chains and puts them on military aircraft and parades them before the cameras. I think people in India ought to realize that that's being done for a purpose, because it appeals to part of the MAGA base over here, but whether it does or not, inhumane and shouldn't be allowed.
Right.
But I think that this will be another area where you kind of kick the can down the road. India's taken some measures to blunt the effect of what Trump is trying to do.
All right. Well, Mr. Vikri, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast with your insights on this. Always a pleasure to have you. Susan, thank you so much for joining us as well with the updates on this. We'll, of course, continue to track all developments closely on this front.
Thank you.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.